Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new series Homebrew Help. Today is a special magical item slash enemy you can use in your own D&D campaign, the Captain's Cutlass. Now, initially the Captain's Cutlass looks, well, like a cutlass, but for those more magically astute, they would know that the cutlass is radiating magical energy. That's for a specific reason. The cutlass is alive. Perhaps it has the soul of the previous captain. Maybe it's the soul of the forger who forged it. Maybe it's just sentient for some reason. Take your pick. But one way or another, the sword is alive. It has a mind. It has a soul. And it has, well, a bloodlust. A good way you can use this is, well, making the cutlass take over something. Perhaps it took over a captain's body after he was slain during a battle. Perhaps it's just seed junk that's made to look like a captain. One way or another, this thing is the puppet's hand for the puppet's body. While initially the thing does not actually take damage unless from two specific sources, either magical damage or acid damage. This can be a pretty good brain teaser for those players who would rather hit stuff instead of actually thinking it through and thinking, why isn't this working? They see something not working and they say, hit more, when in reality, hit more isn't really that good of an option. A good way you could introduce this is pretty simple. Let's say that you had a captain. Perhaps he's been terrorizing the high seas. Perhaps he's your BBEG. Perhaps he's a one-off boss. Or maybe he's just a common enemy that you find. Take your pick, DMs. Anyways, a good idea is to make him, well, arrogant. Make him say how he can take any blow, deal any damage, and blah blah blah, and 3 times over, and yada yada yada. Anyway, as your players attempt to test this over and over and over again, perhaps he escapes one time and tries to come back a second. Perhaps he escapes the second time and comes back a third. Over and over and over and over again. Perhaps they actually get smart and take the sword. That's when you get creative. Then you would tell your player to send them a copy of their player sheets. No matter what, no matter where, just send them a copy. Photo, link, whatever. And randomly make the cutlass start using the player to fight their own party. It's a good way to stir up some conflict, as in the good kind of conflict, and make them actually think on what's going on. They'll think that they just got this weapon, so they think it's going to be the weapon. So they try stuff, but it doesn't work. Perhaps, and for an even bit of touch, you could make the player perhaps fall into a deep sleep or a trance. Or, better yet, make them alive. Make them see everything, talk, hear, listen, and everything. Just their physical body is completely under the sword's control. Quick, easy, efficient. Now that's a good way to end it. But like I said, the two main ways you could damage this weapon that I feel like would be a good balance would, again, be either acid damage and magical damage. You can't really truly break a sword. You can neither really pierce nor slash a sword. So the only real thing you could do is pour some sort of acid over it and let it eat it away. And of course, magic damage. Something like magic missile or perhaps fire damage. Nah, fire damage would only make it worse. Wouldn't you agree, DMs? In fact, how about let's make that the next episode? Molten Sword. Does that sound good? But in the meantime, as the soldiers begin to come around the corner, perhaps one of them sees the cutlass and thinks, ooh, it's a bit better than my crappy sword that I have now. So they grab it and they run off to battle. And as they fight their enemies, Eventually, he starts getting more brutal and he starts climbing up the ranks. Perhaps this once simple soldier becomes a captain or even second hand, only to have been a puppet the entire time. As the true leader of this little duo, air quote, the sword, slowly and methodically weasels its way to the top, until eventually stabbing the back of the king and taking over. This is a good way to add a bit of, well, I would say a bump to your player's path. Perhaps it's a big BBEG, the villain they have to feint us off, like I said. Or it could be seen as an ally. Perhaps you could convince the sword to work for you. Perhaps it feeds on souls. Maybe it feeds on pomegranate juice. Or, I don't know, maybe eats magical energy? And for those wondering, yes, both the magic damage and magic energy can work. Here's a quick reason why. Ever eat too much food? What do you feel? Sick? Bad? Throw uppy? Then you have your answer. But yes, this is short time, weapon, villain, and everything else when it comes to D&D and homebrew. Hope you like the new weapon, and I'll see everyone next time.